Hey, good afternoon, Harris Cook employees and Chris Harrison Associate employees, Alamo Title. I just wanted to take a few minutes and just give you my thoughts on what's going on with this coronavirus. And I just want to make sure that you hear from me and just know that I'm concerned about what's going on in the world, and I know you are as well. And so just want to have a short conversation and make myself available to each one of you. If you have questions, I want you to feel comfortable calling me or texting me or coming to my office, whatever's easiest for you. But I just want to take a few minutes and just share a few things with you. First thing I want to say is thank you. Your dedication to your job and to your work family has been amazing. I want to make sure that we don't lose sight that your health and safety and the health and safety of our coworkers and our customers and public at large is number one. So while I want to say thank you for being here, I also just want to make sure that we remain vigilant and keeping our offices sanitary and safe for everyone. So I think the first thing I want to tell you about is just a new policy that we're going to implement immediately. That starting, we're going to post it this afternoon, and it'll be effective for Monday for sure. Maybe even the latter part of today. But you're gonna see with this video that I'm sending to you via the email, we're going to be attaching a new policy, and I'm just going to read this policy to you real quick. But it just says, due to COVID-19. By appointment only. As a precaution to protect our clients and employees as well as the public at large, we are locking our doors and restricting access to necessary scheduled appointments only. We will continue to meet our clients' needs, but will do so as much as possible via remote and electronic means. We will resume normal operations as soon as public health professionals and our federal, state, and local officials advise us it is safe to do so. And so that, like I said, will be effective this afternoon. We'll get it posted. I would like for the Arlington office to make sure that this is posted on the outside door at 1309A West Abram, also on the door going into the downstairs area. So if you'll make sure that's posted on both of those doors no later than Monday morning, I would appreciate it. But you'll be given copies of this in your email. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is, as you may have seen, Governor Abbott issued a new executive order yesterday. It's obviously it's an executive order that's intended to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 in the state of Texas, and I just want to say that I appreciate his leadership. I think that he's made the right decisions. Initially, the implementation of safeguards was inconsistent throughout cities and counties, and I think it was very timely and very responsible for our governor to step forward and put out a policy and an executive order form that makes it clear what the directives are. And primarily he set forth 4 directives. And so I want to just go through this order with you a little bit. I want to try to get through it quickly, but also give you the information that I think you need. And so one of the statements says, whereas the President's coronavirus guidelines for America as promulgated by President Donald J. Trump and the CDC on March 16th, 2020 calls upon Americans to slow the spread of COVID-19 by avoiding social gatherings in groups of more than 10 people, using drive-through pickup or delivery options at restaurants and bars, and avoiding visitation of nursing homes, among other steps. Now, therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of the State of Texas, by virtue of the power of authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of the State of Texas, do hereby order the following on a statewide basis, effective tonight at 11:59 p.m. March 20th, and continuing for a 2-week period until 11:59 on April 3rd, 2020, subject to extension based upon the status of COVID-19 in Texas and the recommendations of the CDC. As you will see, the 4 orders I'm going to recite to you will stay in effect for the next 2 weeks and can be extended if need be. And just want to reiterate to you, I've been on a lot of phone calls this week, as you might imagine. Some of those calls have been with the county judge here in Tarrant County. I've been on phone calls with the Johnson County judge, all the local mayors, lots of other folks, and then there's been several calls that Governor Abbott has hosted that I've participated in with many of the state legislators, other city council members, mayors, and city managers throughout Texas. Also had a phone call with Rachel's father, Congressman Ron Wright, and had a phone call with him last night that was very informative. And so we appreciate all the information that's been disseminated, and I think that we're doing a good job as a state in coming together, because the goal is to have the best information possible in 2 weeks, so that when April 3rd rolls around, that hopefully we're at the ceiling of this virus, and if not, we'll obviously the governor will make additional safeguards to continue on the protection of Texans. But the goal really is to see where the peak is, and so whether that's done in the next 2 weeks or a longer period of time, that's what the governor's looking for, is when this thing starts to deteriorate, when it's hit its height and starts going downward. That's what we're looking for. So the 4 orders, let me just read those to you. Order number 1, in accordance with the guidelines from the President and the CDC, every person in Texas shall avoid social gatherings in groups of more than 10 people. So no social gatherings of more than 10 people. And so as far as that is concerned, in our offices, obviously some of us work in close quarters, but make sure that even though this order doesn't directly deal with the workplace, it's the same thing that we need to practice, the social distancing, and make sure that we're keeping at least 6 feet apart, and that we're not gathering in large groups unnecessarily. So obviously I would try to work in your offices at your desk, not working around a conference table with other people, except to the extent absolutely necessary. So that's what I would say with regard to order number 1 in our offices. Order number 2, in accordance with the guidelines from the President and the CDC, people shall avoid eating or drinking at bars, restaurants, and food courts, or visiting gyms or massage parlors, provided, however, that the use of drive-through, pickup, or delivery options is allowed and highly encouraged throughout the limited duration of this executive order. So again, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have to pick up food. We're going to have to stay home and cook food. I know that will be hard for some of us that are used to eating out on a regular basis, but it's easy, and in addition to being safe, if you're going out and picking up food at curbside, it's going to be helping local businesses like Mary Lou's and El Primo's and other restaurants that may be located in the cities that you live in. So I encourage you to use those restaurants and support those businesses, because they're going to be going through a tough time over the next several weeks as we deal with this COVID-19. Number 3, in accordance with the guidelines from the President and the CDC, people shall not visit nursing homes or retirements or long-term care facilities unless to provide critical assistance. It speaks for itself. Order number 4, in accordance with the guidelines from the President and the CDC, schools shall temporarily close. And so that makes it where it's consistent throughout the state of Texas, where before you were seeing different school districts close or suspend school for different amounts of time. Now we have a clear direction from the governor that schools shall be temporarily closed until April 3rd at a minimum, and then obviously he can amend or extend the order at that time. Next, those are the 4 orders. The remainder of Governor Abbott's order states that this executive order does not prohibit people from visiting a variety of places, including grocery stores, gas stations, parks, and banks, so long as the necessary precautions are maintained to reduce the transmission of the COVID-19. This executive order does not mandate sheltering in place. In that regard, I will tell you that shelter in place would be the most rigid executive order that I think the governor would implement if extreme measures become necessary. So as he says, this executive order does not mandate sheltering in place. All critical infrastructure will remain operational. Domestic travel will remain unrestricted. That's domestic, not international, but domestic travel will remain unrestricted, and government entities and businesses will continue providing essential services. For offices and workplaces that remain open, employees should practice good hygiene and, where feasible, work from home in order to achieve optimum isolation from COVID-19. The more that people reduce their public contact, the sooner COVID-19 will be contained, and the sooner that this executive order will expire. So clearly, Governor Abbott's his intentions there are to encourage each one of us within this office and within our communities to comply with this executive order so that we can get through this COVID-19 pandemic at the earliest time possible. So with regard to the last 2 things that were in his order, talking about good, exercising, good hygiene, and also working from home in order to achieve optimum isolation, where where it's feasible. Obviously, everyone has seen these. I want to make sure that these remain posted throughout our offices, and please feel free to disseminate those to clients and customers as you see fit. With regard to working from home, I want to handle it just the way we've been handling it, and that is to ask that you self-police yourself. I'd like to request that each employee that has a laptop that you take that home with you on a daily basis, so that if it becomes necessary for us as an office to work from home, or you as an individual to work from home, that you'll have that laptop with you at all times. And so that's my request, is that you do take your laptop home every single day until these measures are no longer necessary. And as far as self-policing, all I'm saying is if you feel like you're sick, if you feel like that you need to see a doctor, that you shouldn't be around others, then I'm going to ask that you do work from home as you see fit. Obviously, I need you to communicate with your direct supervisors as necessary, but we're going to keep the offices open as long as the governor's orders do not mandate that they be closed. So, that being said, and in summary, our offices will remain open. I trust that you will make the best decision for yourselves. And if we see something different as managers within our law firm and title company, if we see that we need to do something different with an individual employee, then we'll address that on an individual basis. Otherwise, we're going to count on you to do what's best for yourself and for your coworkers and for the public at large. So that's all that I wanted to cover with you today. I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all that you do. We have a great group of people, and it's just amazing to see the growth that we've had to go from an office of less than 10 people to an office of more than 40 people, and I just can't imagine doing it with anyone else than the group that we have now. So thank you, and God bless you.